Hey folks, welcome to Collective of Carl. We are now in another episode of The Gallery with Mr. Mike West. Now, if you don't know this guy, he collects modern DC, Batman, Green Lantern, the Morrison, John's eras, and in a hobby that runs Marvel first. This guy is definitely in his own lane. I mean, not even looking for the vintage stuff. He really just feel what he's feeling. And obviously, we're going to really dive into some of the other things that he does as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mike West, a.k.a. the SIG Slayer. So, Mike.
What's up, Carl?
How you doing, brother?
Man, dude, I love the intro, man. I'm on the other side of the intro for a change. That feels good.
Yeah, we're the same too. We're both DC guys, and so ever since we connected and you started talking to me about your collection, I've always wanted to do this. I just haven't had an opportunity to, and we didn't know kind of when we'll do this, but we're here now, man. So what's up, man? Why, like, real quick, why DC? Like, what's the inspiration and what's the thesis?
So why do I like DC as a fan or DC art?
You know what? Why don't you tell a little bit of both?
Okay, so they're both connected. I'm one of the rare comic book fans that got into comics when he was almost 30. So I was like 26 when I got into comics. And don't get me wrong, I read comics throughout, my childhood, but not like collecting them or anything like that. If I saw something with a hologram on it, like in the 90s, everything was hologram crazy, Upper Deck, and then the comics had holograms on them, I would grab that, from 7-Eleven. But around like the early 2000s, one of my clients, I used to work in a special needs community, and we used to go on these camping trips, and he had a couple graphic novels, and it was Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. And on the back cover, it had John Stewart on the back.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know anything about DC or much about Marvel other than the cartoons, but I thought that it created John Stewart for the Justice League cartoon. I thought he was like the token black character that they made. And then my client told me, he was like, oh, no, he's from 1968 or whatever. And so I was so impressed by what Paul Dini and Bruce Timm was doing, that they were so true to the comic books, that it made me want to read the comics, because just off watching the cartoon, I knew a little bit about the DC universe. Just off of, I knew who Etrigan was. I knew Jason Blood. I could kind of like take any comic I wanted, and they will be in their own little bag in the comic. But the general premise of the character, I knew about them because of what they did in the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini verse. Mm-hmm. And fast forward, my roommate, who was a comic book fan at the time, I'm still in college. He was like, it was during that era where you could spontaneously go to San Diego Comic-Con, right? Yeah. And so he was like, yo, let's go. Comic-Con's this week, let's go. So we go. It was Thursday. And by this time I had a couple graphic novels. I had this was during the beginning of like the build up to Infinite Crisis. So this was around that era. And I had my jam was Green Lantern Rebirth, the hardcover, and Geoff Johns was at a panel. So, first Comic-Con ever, we're looking at the program, and I'm like, oh snap, that guy, right? So I go to the panel, and it was an Infinite Crisis panel. So like Dan DiDio was there, Geoff Johns was there, and people that I don't remember because I wasn't like hip on the names. But after the panel, This is the real juice. After the panel, I go up to Geoff with my Green Lantern Rebirth, right?
Sick. Let's dive in. Let's go.
This here, right? This it. And he does this. I'm gonna cover the other side real quick. He does. Oh, there it is. That he does that, right? And then next year I meet Ethan, and he does that. So this is all my origin story. So Geoff does this. There we go. He does this, and I'm like, what? I can get stuff signed that easy? Like, I was like, it can't be that easy. And then so he's still there, right? I run to the floor, bought a Green Lantern #1, which I still have, and went back. He was still there, and he signed that. And then ever since then, I've been hooked on SIGs.
Wow, that's the origin story of SIG SLAYER right there. I mean, today we're talking to Mike West, but SIG SLAYER is one of the same. So we to know Mike West, we have to know SIG SLAYER and vice versa.
Yes, and so fast forward to the comic art, right? I didn't really get into the comic art until like a few years ago. I've always wanted to get into art, but it was always a pain in the ass based on what I was living vicariously through my friends, them, waiting years or months for commissions, and just that whole game, or camping out trying to get there early, even if you have a VIP badge, getting there early and then boom, you're deflated because the list was only 5 people long and you were number 6, and so I never really wanted to like dabble into it. But one day on eBay, there was a listing for, I have it right here. So I don't think it made it the cut, but this was the first piece I've ever gotten that I bought. I'm lying. I take that back. That's what I bought. I take that back. The first page that I've ever gotten was a gift. I take that back. And guess who gave me the gift? Who was my origin story?
Geoff Johns. No way.
He gave me an Eduardo Riso page from Flashpoint Beyond, and it's on my calf, but it's not in here because I wanted to kind of keep it concise to where I'm at now. But that kind of started the rabbit hole. So I would get like cheap little sketch covers and stuff like that. But when Geoff gave me that Riso page, and it was Batman, and it was like a Batman in a time capsule. So it was Batman with Rip Hunter's time capsule. Okay. And then this was also a first appearance page because Geoff came up with something called the Divine Continuum, right? And that's what it was kind of like what explains all of it. The omniverse is what they call it now. So that means the multiverse, the dark multiverse, all of it is considered the divine continuum. And too bad he left DC he couldn't explore that more. But I have that page where in Flashpoint Beyond, they talk about it and they explained it in issue 5 about the divine continuum. But anyway, so he gifted me that. And then I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do. Okay. Now I was like, forget getting on the list or whatever. I was like, plus the other thing about commissions that I kind of just inherently know because of comics is, well, depending on the character, depending on popularity of it, let's say you wanted to move it, they're harder to move. So you have to, pretty much keep them or, take a real good deal on them most of the time, right? And so for me, I wanted something that people knew about, right? And so everybody, as far as comic book readers, they know about the pages, right? They know about the published work. And so I wanted to, if I was going to buy art, I'd rather it be the moments that I appreciated. And that goes all the way back to when I used to cut comics in college and make collages. And so instead of cutting the comics and making collages in my hallway, I wanted to adorn the SIG SLAYER studio with the moments themselves of one-of-one originals. And it had to be, Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. And so that's where this comes into the play, where I saw this on eBay. Nice. And this is what's crazy about this, full 360. Doug Mahnke is a member of the SIG SLAYER station. And my first OA that I bought myself was a Green Lantern piece by Doug Mahnke. And this is actually the second to last issue of the original series that Geoff Johns did on before the New 52. Nice. So it went all the way to 67 issues, New 52, and then they started over. That was like the penultimate issue where all the Guardians are possessed by the entities that power the various Lantern Corps, and they're all being controlled by Krona, the Renegade Guardian. And yeah, so what's cool about that was an educational piece for me because you saw it was all pencil, right? And I was like, okay. And then I saw on CAF that's when I was started stumbling upon CAF, and so I'm on the CAF website, and then I see that same page. I'm like, wait a minute, but it was inked, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know about blue lines and pencils and stuff like that, but luckily I knew Doug, and so I was like, hey Doug, like what is this? And he explained. He was like, oh yeah, he was like Keith Champagne, the inker. He inked over the blue lines, and I had the originals, and so you probably got your page from whoever I sold the pencils to. And
what a great lesson to learn early on when it comes to collecting comic art.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
And so that was my first dive in. Yeah. And you know how it is, Carl. Like you get into it, you get the bug. Buying published comics, right? It's really a needle in a haystack. So the other thing is this stuff is 20-something years old, pushing 30 now, right? Yeah. Green Lantern started in 2004. So I didn't think that I was going to be able to get any of the stuff, right? Because it was so old. I figured that the collectors already swooped on it. I just figured that it was old. But then it was weird, like in 2024 on CAF, I'm seeing Yvonne Reese, the legendary Green Lantern artist, and now is on Ghost Machine. He still had pages from Red Lanterns, and they still have all of this stuff. And then I just started, emailing, I forgot his name, but his rep, and then that was that whole portal. And then now Yvonne does not sell any more Green Lantern pages anymore.
What?
Yeah, and so I got my last thing from him.
No way.
And then a couple weeks after that, they removed everything from there. And then so I actually contacted Yvonne and was like, hey, what happened? And he was like, man, I'm doing Ghost Machine now. This is all that I have left. This is my last. So he was keeping it for himself, because maybe before he was just on DC for a long time as a contract artist, and he just thought that he'll just do more. But now that he's doing his own work, his own creator-owned stuff, those days might be over, and you might be keeping that stuff for later dates. Especially knowing how I know people don't care about Green Lantern, people don't care about Marvel, and care about DC like that. But Geoff Johns' Green Lantern run, in my opinion, only one opinion, is the best run of a character in modern DC. I haven't seen anything that was better than that, where it started and it ended.
Man, I'm super sold on it. I need to dive in. What's funny, I need to confess, is when I first started collecting comic art, I was very character driven, and I thought back to what characters moved me the most, and Green Lantern was actually one of them. And what's funny was the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern was for one reason or another. I don't know why, but that run of the story was huge. So we're gonna dive in now, guys. We're gonna dive into your collection. I think we've been talking a lot about Green Lantern, so let's look at some freaking Green Lantern art. I mean, you have 3 key pieces that you have from the Johns era. So which one you all go first? We're gonna do GL47, number 1 or 5. Let's dive in. Let's
so let's go with GL47. Let's go there.
GL47, Blackest Night cover.
Yes.
By Doug Mahnke. Let's talk about this one.
Well, this is one of my only cover in my whole collection. So let's just keep it there, right? I don't think I will ever get a cover again.
Wait, stop. Why never a cover again?
Just because the way the market is going, everything's going up. Okay. And the stuff that I like is only going to be a matter of time before people catch on. It's like MF Doom. Like I've been an MF Doom fan forever. Now, it's like chic to be MF Doom fan, So at some point they're gonna catch on and realize, wait a minute, I've been sleeping on this sweet ass Green Lantern run, and people are gonna want to pick up things. But the collector circle, there's not much Geoff Johns Green Lantern, so it's kind of a cult kind of a thing. And because like somebody like myself, as soon as I see something I like, I don't let it sit there for too long before I, snipe it. So I think that's kind of the general rhythm of all the Geoff Johns fans, is that they pick them all up. But with that said, if there's ever a cover available, it's going to be Way, you know, I'm not willing to give up what, you know, these are all these pages matter to me. So it's yeah, I'm happy with what I got. So the 47 page, the reason why that's so cool, Blackest Night is still, I would say it's Crisis and Blackest Night are like 1A, 1B as far as like dope, pivotal DC crossovers where all the characters are in it throughout the whole line. Yes, there's other miniseries as well that people might like, but to me, nothing as pivotal as Crisis and nothing as cool and immersive as Blackest Night. And
yeah, and this cover is badass because there's like an action shot with 3 lanterns on there going at it. And
yes, and what's cool about that is it's you got Sinestro,
yeah,
you got Hal, and
Sick.
then you have a Black Lantern, Abin Sur.
Perfect.
And so that's the guy that gave Hal his power ring. And so, and then the other thing that's cool about that cover from a production standpoint, that is entirely Doug Mahnke. So he penciled and inked that. And so I only have 2 pieces in my whole collection where they're penciled and inked by Doug. And he doesn't do that often because of, you know, the deadlines and stuff like that. So to get a cover that's penciled and inked by him, and it has Hal, Sinestro, and Abin Sur, you know, because I'm a big continuity guy. And even you mentioned Kyle Rayner, Geoff Johns, this run made me want to go back. I mean, all the way back, even back to the Gil Kane era. But before that, I went to the Kyle Rayner and the Parallax and all of that. And all of it connected. And so you could read the Geoff Johns stuff and read all of that stuff in the past, and it doesn't contradict. It's all one common thread. And that's
nerd, man. He loves his stuff. He's a very well-read comic book writer, and everything he's doing today in his Ghost Machine imprint has been resonating with a lot of my fellow kind of story collectors. So I think you're similar, where I think there's a category of story collectors that is, yeah, we love the art, but we love to collect the moments that spoke to us in stories. And I think a lot of the new stuff that's coming out through Ghost Machine is really speaking to our type of audience as well.
Oh, definitely. Everybody that I love from DC is on Ghost Machine, so it was like they got me from the beginning. And then the one other thing that I wanted to say was that whole continuity buff that was a continuity buff era. Okay. Grant Morrison, Geoff Johns, they were all pulling from the continuity from the Golden Age all the way. I mean, with Batman. We'll
get to that. We'll get to Batman. Yeah. I want knock out our Green Lantern. And
okay. All right.
So Morrison action going on over there. So we'll get there. But I mean, acquisition-wise, how did you find this one? I see the watermark on there. Was it?
Yes. Shout out to Albert Moy. Albert Moy was the first kind of outlet. Okay. It's funny because it just shows you I got on at the right time, because ever since then he hasn't had anything on his site that made me want to go and get something, you know, because it's I don't know if I put the Green Lantern 5 up, where it's the Black Hand splash page. Yeah. Okay, so that's
Ethan and Skyver one.
Yes, that's Albert Moy as well. Okay. And so I think I got like 3 pieces from Albert Moy throughout, but 2 of them were Green Lantern, and that big splash of Black Hand on issue 5. I mean, I remember reading that and like, oh my God, this is dope. And knowing in hindsight how big of a impact Black Hand was throughout Geoff Johns' run, it just sang to me. And that's his first major splash page of the run. Yeah, so that's issue 5. So yeah, that's his coming out party. And then after that issue, he's in like one more issue after that, and then you don't see him again to Blackest Night. And so he kind of goes dark and kind of does his his thing to and then even then he even tells a story on what he was doing during that dormant time, since you saw him in that issue 5 that you have. I'm pointing back because it's right behind me.
No, it's dope. I think issue 5 is dope. I think it's a cool moment. I love that one. There is a splash. I'm about to reveal a splash that I got recently too. later. It's the first appearance of the costume of a character I love, which is not in my hand yet, so I won't talk about it. But like moments like this is what really speaks to me more than covers, to be honest.
Yes, I'm a big in-story guy. Yeah. That's why I mentioned that I used to cut up the comics and collage them on walls back in college, because I felt like the artwork in the page needs to be seen, like not even like read. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, read it, but I mean like certain images and certain splash pages, like they need to be seen, because it's like I had this one splash page where it had a Batman with a flamethrowing Martian Manhunter. Like that's just sick as hell. Like take it out of context. Batman is flamethrowing Martian Manhunter. Like I love that. So you could really tell your own stories with just the images, you know. So I say, hey, I'm a big fan of, hey man, cut up the comics and tell your own stories on your walls.
All right, we gotta finish off the trilogy with your Green Lantern #1.
Oh,
this splash is so money, bro. The Oath, Sinestro. What do you remember about the story? Like when you look at this, like, are there words off the pages that spoke to you? Was it the whole comic that led up to this moment? But yeah, this moment is money, man.
This moment, because this is like I think page 2 of issue 1. Nice. So like the story hasn't even started yet. But I tell you exactly what I felt, because this is New 52. All right. So this is issue 1 of New 52. So for all the people that don't know, DC rebooted everything, okay, and started with everything #1, and they reimagined everyone, right, except Green Lantern. And so when I saw that page, I was like, oh, okay, they didn't reboot shit. All right, excuse my French. They kept it. They let the good times roll. So that made me feel good, because I hated the New 52. They renumbered Detective Comics. They renumbered Action Comics. I hated it. Okay,
it was weird. It was weird. I agree. It was kind of
I did not like the New 52.
Yeah, I bought in on it though. Like I'm like the guy. Oh, #1, New 52 is fine. All I did all that.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I got the Court of Owls. You know, I mean, we're comic fans, so we're gonna get it. But like, we're gonna like, you know, bitch about it, and we can bitch about it because we bought it. You know, and so so if you buy it, you have all the right to say whatever you want. Okay, and so this splash page, not only was I so excited that this wasn't getting a reboot. You went from issue 67 to issue 1, New 52. And Sinestro, they actually, I did not think that they were going, the Guardians was going to make this dude a Green Lantern. So like that to me, I was like, okay, what the hell is wrong with the Guardians? Even though what I loved about Geoff Johns' run is that you had this disdain for the Guardians the whole time. But you're like, what the hell? Sinestro? So everybody had that moment, because it's page 2. And then you look at it, he's being held hostage. He's chained down, okay, in the middle of the Citadel of Oa, and they're forcing him to say the oath. Now, this is a historic page, because this is the first and probably the only time Sinestro says the Green Lantern oath.
It's crazy. And like the chains are like super fat.
Yeah.
So, like, like this dude is not going nowhere, and they're forcing him. And it's one of those moments you just kind of are wondering, what the hell is going on here, dude?
Yeah. And so like this is one of those moments, right? That like if you had the comic, I would rip this page out and put it on the wall, because you're like, when are you gonna see Sinestro saying the freaking oath, and the Guardians are there, and you see he's chained up, and so it's like an awkward moment for everybody.
Man, this is such like a great kickoff to this chat, because knowing Geoff Johns' relevance in your fandom and collecting art, giving you the art. I mean, I think we should double click on that real quick as to like why you think he gave you that art, and then we're gonna move on to your second pillar, which is your Batman stuff. So so give us that story. Why do you think he gave you the art, man? Like, I'm sure he's not passing out art to everybody, but
we're friends. So I've been knowing Geoff ever since that first moment. So I got to tell you this other story, because it pertains. It's the only way it will be answered. So I would see Geoff every Comic-Con. I would do what we call, I was a 8th degree black belt at panel crashing, right? So they stopped signing books after panels, probably because of me and my boy Max. Okay, because I would get all my 20-year image anniversary. I'm hitting up Todd, I'm hitting up Jim Lee, and so they don't do that anymore, right? But I would do that on an annual basis with Geoff. And for people who don't know, I'm sitting down, but I'm 6'6". Okay, so it's kind of hard to miss me. When I'm running around here, I'm like I'm freaking Robert Ory or something. And so seeing Geoff year after year after year, we got to know each other. But then we also are from the same part of LA, the Valley, right? And so I mentioned that I was in special needs work. And so I'm a Special Olympics coach, 4-time gold medal coach champion, right? And then also we trained some of the first people in American history with Down syndrome to complete marathons, East and West Coast. And so this was during that heyday where I was going to this park called Balboa Park in the Valley. And we would go and train for the marathon early in the morning on Burbank Boulevard. And I had this bus called the Woody, had this wood paneling. It looked like the Alvin and Chipmunks car, but it was a bus. Nice. And so long story short, I'm at a stoplight and there's this famous diner called Nat's Diner on Burbank. And it's a famous one. And at the red light, at the stoplight, about to walk across the street, I see Geoff Johns. And I'm like, what's up, Geoff? What's up, man? And he was just, mind his own business. He said, hey, what up, right? And then, like maybe a month after that, there's this bomb-ass, my favorite pizza joint. It was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives called Baroni's Pizza on Oxnard. Nice. I'm having a dinner with my boss, right? And as we're leaving, Geoff Johns and somebody else is coming into the restaurant.
Yo, that's crazy.
And so I'm like, yo, what's up, right? And so that Comic-Con, this is like, now we're like 2017. I panel crashed because it was Grant Morrison had a panel, and then Geoff Johns had the panel right after Morrison. So I panel crashed the hell out of that. That was actually the last time I panel crashed was 2017. And it was because I wanted to see Morrison and Geoff Johns. So when I saw Geoff, he asked me, he was like, what were you doing in that bus? And I was like, yo, I'm a Special Olympics coach and da-da-da-da. And he was like, you should take him to DC Comics. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he gave me his email. And so for like 7 months, I had to take him in groups in 10. So I was an athletic director. So I wasn't just a coach. So my track team, my basketball team, my marathon team, and the track team was big because it had all the different events. So for like a 7-month period, once a month, I was taking a different group to DC headquarters in Burbank, and we would go to a different level of the building. And so I got a chance to see editorial. I got a chance to see DC Direct, like the toy line before they started to license it out to Todd. So Jim Fletcher, the famous Jim Fletcher, I got a chance to meet him and see like the Batman Hush models, the molds, from the Jim Lee's design. Man, all kind of stuff. I got a chance to meet Benjamin LeClaire. He's the actual custodian of the archive. So my last trip at DC, I was able to go to the vault and see everything that they ever printed. I saw the check that DC gave Bob Kane to sell off Batman. I saw the Christopher Reeve's photo when they just snapshot it when he found out he was going to be Superman. I saw a picture of Muhammad Ali looking at Superman versus Muhammad Ali for the first time with a young Don King in the background. And so all of that, right? We were fans and stuff back and forth. And then so this is crazy, right? So Flashpoint Beyond, this is now 2023. Flashpoint Beyond, Collector's Paradise in Pasadena. Shout out to Ed.
Ed, what's up, Ed?
What's up, Ed? He had a signing where he had Jeremy Adams,
nice,
Geoff Johns, Howard Chaykin, like all in one place, like that one time. And then so I texted Geoff. I was like, yo, man, this is after the pandemic. No one's seen each other and stuff. I go, yo, Geoff, I'm gonna see you at the shop, And then that was it. And then so I'm in line. I try to be first in line, and I was first in line. I was shooting the shit with my pals in line, and then Geoff comes in. He goes, I got something for you, and he goes in his car and comes back and gives me the page. I'm like, what the?
Woo! You would have been freaking blown away, bro.
Oh my god! Dude, there were so many enemies that was there. There was a couple of people I didn't like.
Like Matt haters. Like,
eat it. Yeah, so yeah, that was cool. So that's how I got that. But no, Geoff and I we're friends, and I try to big up Ghost Machine as not as much as the Ghost Machine fans, but shout out to them too. But I try to big them up, all those guys, because a lot of those people on Ghost Machine are my favorite people in comics.
Yeah, man. No, Geoff, good people. Good things happen to good people. He's always consistently been known as a good person, does great work, and I've been exposed to him in industry events and whatnot. He tells great stories, and so thanks for sharing that, because I think that's very relevant to this conversation, because a lot of times as comic art collectors, we do end up becoming friends with a lot of the creators themselves, right? Because we are holding a part of their process in our collection, and that's what makes this so damn beautiful. Now, I'm curious now, because this guy I really look up to as well, Mr. Grant Morrison himself. Ooh. You have a whole crazy collection with Batman. That's your other pillar. I would say if
yes,
Green Lantern was one pillar, this kind of Batman run under Mr. Morrison is another.
Yes.
Let's dive in, man. Like Batman 678.
Okay, so this.
What's up here?
This is my okay. This is the most special piece of my entire collection.
Let's go.
Now there's 3 pieces here. They're here, and they all are they're like my trinity. Okay.
Nice.
But that one, and then there's the splash page of 672.
Yeah. Those 2 pieces in particular.
Here's why. Okay, so when I first started doing this social media stuff, right? Man, I'm gonna toot my own horn, man. We were some of the first cats doing all the sexy comic book shots with the videos and clipping them all up years and years ago. So if people want to fact check me, go on the Stash Wars IG and just scroll all the way almost 10 years now, and you will see all kind of stuff. So anyway, what I used to do, because I also make music, is what I would do was I would take, instead of taking like a JPEG or a PNG and make videos out of that, I would actually video the page and then cut that up because it just looked cool, had a little bit more energy, and then I would make music videos out of it, right?
Nice. All the videos you guys see is compliments of Mr. Mike here, who did great cinematography.
Yeah, and so in Grant Morrison's Batman, right? I was like, okay, I need a character. I was like, I want to be a character. It's not me, right? But I wanted to be Batman related, but something that no one will really get unless they were really deep into Morrison. So I came up with this character called the Black Glove. So anybody that knows me, Stash Wars, Stash Bros, Sig Slayers, know that there is a Black Glove presence in all the things that I do, right? And so it's almost like the boss from Inspector Gadget with the claw, where you just see the cat and the glove, right? His little metal glove. So this is like this OJ leather glove, right? And it has this black background, and then I would showcase a lot of my dope ass SIGs on there, and I would call it the Black Glove. And then I would do these little montages, right, where I would take pages that mention the Black Glove in Grant Morrison's run, right? And, do a little, hover my phone over it and take little shots. And so this 678 was like my favorite one, because it was like right when, I don't know if you know this character, but that's Thomas Hurt. That's actually Bruce Wayne's great grandfather, right? Ooh. Named Thomas Wayne. I don't even want to go there, but anyway, I want to say he invaded the Batcave, drugged up Bruce Wayne. So he's out in the street somewhere, drugged up. This is during Batman RIP, and so he beat up Alfred, and they're in the middle, and he goes, "Hey, this is the toast to the Black Glove." So like that was my joint. So I always use that page like from the graphic novel. I will always hover my phone over that and then play a new beat over it, and you know, and then show people dope new books that I got from the convention, right? So fast forward to 2024. I'm chilling minding my own business, and freaking Tony Daniel drops that, like from his site, like brand new.
He's a
like
great artist. He's a great artist.
That's I'm the original owner of that.
Yeah.
So that piece right there is like all the things that I've been doing creatively. It's like I can look at that page and be like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. Whatever idea that you have, like try to work it out, figure it out. It'll make sense. And so like me getting that, because I used to do all kind of just stupid, goofy stuff. And now I'm actually editing stuff for comic book creators now. You know what I mean? So it's like this. So it reminds me of my humble beginnings, but while being player at the same time.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if people recognize how important it is when a new costume is revealed, because to an artist and a creator team, they spend a ton of time with prelims, trying different things, 360 turnarounds. And so the moment of the reveal on a page like this is very significant in the kind of, you know, setting precedence for what this character is going to be. So in a way, I feel like having his, you know, arm on a beat up Alfred, and he's kind of holding up the man. It's money, man.
And then what's cool about it, as I talked about the continuity buff era, right? So this is not just, you know, Geoff Johns, Grant Morrison, Peter Tomasi, you know, all of those guys, they were all kind of in cahoots with each other and using the rich history of DC and making relevant stories, you know, during that time. And so that mask even has relevance back to the untold story of Batman, which is Batman's first ever miniseries. I think it was written by John Byrne. I think John Byrne wrote it. I think it was like John Byrne's first DC thing. And but it tells about the story of that mask, that Zorro mask used to belong to his father, Thomas Wayne. And so and that story is a golden age story, and they fleshed it out in the 80s. And so Grant Morrison took that, and that's why it's in the Batcave, kind of memorialized next to the Robin costumes. And so boom, Dr. Hurt, aka Thomas Wayne, aka El Penitente, goes up in there and puts it on, and that becomes his, you know, his new costume. Yeah. So it's all of that. So it's multi-layered why I love this page, but it's mainly because of the black glove. And I was using that character. I wanted to use something for Morrison's run because I think it's the best Batman run for me. And so getting that page directly from Tony Daniel, I was like, dude, like, what are the odds? This came out in 2009, I think. Nice. Like, what are the odds? You know,
timing's everything. I've learned that. Sometimes, you know, I've had other conversations with other collectors where you would have thought something that they did 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago was long gone, but all of a sudden they'll do a drop, or a dealer would do a post, and you're kind of like, wait, what? And sometimes timing is everything. So we're very lucky to be stewards of everything that we steward. So you got a page from 672, a page from 678, and you have a freaking conclusion page, page 6 from issue 681. So let's talk about
this. Is deep in the story. That's what I like about this page, because this page not only is the conclusion, this is the showdown. This is the showdown. This is Batman's last like case before he goes missing in the pages of Final Crisis. But also Grant Morrison has this theme that happens throughout from this page on to the end. And he says the hole in things. Okay. The hole in things, right? And so he keeps bringing that up. He even has a chapter in one of the issues called The Hole in Things. So he introduces that idea on this page, you know, when he's trying to figure out, Batman's trying to figure out, who is this guy? Who are you, dude? Because people don't understand that character, Thomas Hurt, was a one-off character from Batman 156, okay? And so, like I said, continuity buff era. So they took and 156 was just a one shot about Batman volunteering to be in these isolation chambers for a governmental experiment, right? So this was back in the 60s and the 50s where they were trying to make the government and everybody was they're all the good guys. Everybody's the good guys here, right? And so boom, years later, Morrison flips that. No, they not. Here we go. We're gonna take the information that we got from you on these experiments. We're gonna use it, create this phony bat program, right? Where we're gonna train cops to be like you, so that I can use them against you later on. And so that was kind of the whole premise of, pretty much the first half of Grant Morrison's run, and that page is like the conclusion. So this is so Batman has been Winter Soldier to a degree. He had a sleeper agent, and so Zerwin R, right? So the Batman of Zerwin R that got popular again, and then it got even more popular, in recent years with Chip Zdarsky's run.
Sure.
And so, but the Zerwin R was a trigger word that made Batman or Bruce become under the control of Thomas Wayne there. And so he'd been through all of that, never seen him the whole time. So he's literally in the shadows terrorizing Batman. And so once he comes out of the grave, because the Black Glove is a cabal of rich and powerful people. And so they're having a dinner and they're betting on the Batman's going to survive. And Batman comes out of the grave and then and goes straight after him. And so he never really met this dude up until this point. So except in the isolation chamber experiments, and then that's it. And so Batman he's been fucking with Batman for years, and he didn't know. So no one really understands that unless you're a real Morrison guy and you have the patience to read it over and over and over again, because you gotta. Yeah.
So what happened here then? Did he throw Batman off the helicopter?
So on the following page, so Batman is climbing up that ladder, right? And then Hurt gets on the helicopter, and then Batman lunges at it. And what's kind of weak about it is that Batman creates a plane crash somehow by him lunging at it. I don't know how that works, but they both end up in whatever bay. So they were over water. They fall into the water, and then the Batman that you see in the 672, he's the operator of the helicopter, and he's one of the cops. So I got to talk about 672 because that's a big a significant page too.
Let's dive in.
And so, but just to conclude that 678, so pretty much Batman gets washed up, and then later on they explain what happens after that. So that pretty much concludes Batman R.I.P. After that, they both go into the water, and then Nightwing's on the next page holding the cape and cowl. And so it was very choppy, and that was the criticism about Grant Morrison's, ending of Batman R.I.P. because it kind of didn't make sense.
Left everyone hanging a little bit.
Yeah, and then they fixed it where they told additional stories a couple years later, but in that moment it was like, what the hell was going on? Yeah. And so Batman 672. Okay, I have a cover, right? I have a couple first pagers.
Nice.
But this is a last page, last splash. Okay. Now, why this is important to me. Now, I was on the Black Comic Lords about a couple months ago, and shout out to Paul. He corrected me, but I disagree. This is the first Black Batman that you see here. Okay.
Word?
Yes. Because in these in those cop experiments where they were training training cops to be Batman, there were only 3 cops that survived. So and so at the beginning of Grant Morrison's story arc, he runs across the first 2 fake Batman. The first page, Joker kills him, and then the second one is like a hokey Bane that whoops Batman's ass, but he eventually defeats him. But then
Absolute Batman before Absolute Batman?
no, he's more like a Bane, because he's more like Bane because he took Venom, and so he took this doctor in the shadows trained these cop Batman to be different aspects of one of Batman's strengths, except one of them was a marksman, right? So one of them used guns. The first one to die was a marksman. But the last one and the last surviving one was a African-American guy named Michael Lane. And my name is Michael too.
Nice.
And so he's the first black Batman. Now, there was somebody in the 70s that called Blackwing or something like that. No, that's not Batman. That was on like Earth 2. It was like Paul from Black Commodores educated me on. I didn't never heard of him before, but that's not Batman. This guy that you see, Michael Lane, is in a full-on Batman costume, and he's impersonating Batman, and he's a cop. Okay, and that where he's being held captive is under the Gotham Police Department, where they held these experiments on Batman and the rest of the cops. So that's where he's being held right now. And so what's cool about that is that the black Batman killed Batman. And what you see in this picture here is him resuscitating him. So he could have killed Batman and left him for dead.
No way.
Him. Batman was dead for 3 minutes.
What?
Yes. And so right there, that's why Batman's I don't know if you can see it, but his chest is exposed in that issue because he used those little whatever defibrillator things to resuscitate Batman, but he killed him. He was dead. Wow. So in that issue, Batman, like the last like maybe 6 or 7 pages of that issue, Batman is completely unconscious and out to lunch. And so that's what's cool about that. You got the black Batman actually killed them, but revived them. And then, just so you know, that character would eventually become the new Azrael. So he is Azrael.
What? I didn't know that. That's
Michael
crazy. I'm the old school Azrael. I'm the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Black Batman would be Jace Fox. I read that run.
Yes.
I love the costume. The whole like.
Yeah.
The mouth cover look kind of. It's dope. That was a.
But this is before that. This is before that. And so now he's Azrael. He was Azrael in one of the video games too. But yeah, he's the current Azrael, Michael Lane.
Okay, let's continue with the Batman pillar, man. I mean, one of my favorite artists of all time is Mr. David Finch himself. But I've never been able to get what I needed from him yet, and so he's on my list. But you do have a few solid pages. I mean, we could start with New 52 if we've been talking about it. You have a page from New 52 #1, man. That's badass.
No, that's Rebirth #1.
Oh, Rebirth.
That's when Finch started with Tom King. So that's the beginning of Tom King's run. And okay, this gives me a chance to shout out Comic Art Live.
Nice.
I have to say that's pretty much them and Anthony's Collectibles. I would say shout them out too. Have been the only places where I could find the stuff that I'm looking for, where it pops up. Because, like I said, the Green Lantern stuff, it's like the collectors hold on to it, and then during the Comic Art Live, when they want to get rid of it, they know they're going to get rid of it because somebody else is wanting that shit, and it's probably me and somebody else, right? And so, because like whenever I let go of Green Lantern page during Comic Art Live, it sells, because it's like we're kind of just trading it off from each other.
Some hardcore fans, man. Green Lantern. I mean, Mr. Tom Donald, shout out.
And so Finch, this was like stupid cheap for a Finch Batman #1, and he was even able to. I was even able to negotiate the price down even more, and because I guess he was trying to move it, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm having the Batman #1. This is crazy.
Never know.
And it's Batman in every panel. And so what I love about this is Batman #1. I mean, what could you say if you're a Batman fan, right? And you're a Batman art fan. Yeah, you can have all the splash pages, all the covers in the world. But do you have anything from any Batman #1s? Because here's the thing. This is the only traditional art Batman #1 interior since 1940.
Wait, what?
Because the New 52 was Blue Line. if you catch our interview with Jonathan Galapian, he tells you why it's blue line. Well, I shortcut it. He said, you know, it was a trust thing. So you know, they wanted to play it safe and go with the blue lines. And so the first 11 issues of New 52 Batman is all blue line. I think more than that. I think it's like the first 16 or 17 issues.
It's more and more common these days, and kind of a little bit more accepted now with the blue line, because it's just, you know, you're not going to get that art. What else you can get? Yeah,
and so, but this is traditional. This is Matt Banning, his old running mate, right? And David Finch. And so I was like, I can't believe this. This is crazy. And I wasn't a big Tom King Batman fan, but during this moment, during this time, like, the jury is still out. No one had their guns aimed at Tom King during this era. And so, matter of fact, no one that I know had any issues with the arc where Tom King was working with David Finch. And this was like Batman steering a freaking airplane. You know what I mean? So, like, this is like what I love about this page is, like, you rarely see Batman be Batman and save the day. Like, how he saves the day, he ends up saving the day and then he talks about it afterwards, like, in hindsight. This is like, you see this fool putting the gadgets on, like, and it also shows how crazy you have to be Batman, right? Like, you know, you can't just be a martial artist. You know what I mean? You
have to be like Tom Cruise too and do your own stunts.
Yeah, it's like you have to be psycho. I think Tom Cruise has got a little crazy, a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So this shows you, if you trying to be that dude, you got to really do some crazy shit, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's dope. It's a dope page. It's all the backgrounds, the city. You could tell, like, he poured a lot into this because he wanted to really make sure that you understood the risk that Batman would take when taking on or trying to save a plane and whatever he's doing here. But it's beautiful. It's a great get, and it's dope. Even doper when, you know, you just, sometimes that's the fun thing about the hunt, right? You, like, come across these gems in the most random channels. Sometimes on these live sales, sometimes it's art, you know, drops, and you just never know. Like, sometimes there'll be 20 people going for it because they all were thinking about this. Other times you're the only one, and, like, I think that's it. All kind of evens out. That's kind of the way I see it. Where sometimes you get deals, sometimes you don't, and at the end of the day, the balance is where the kind of force brings you. Now, you do have another David Finch page.
Yes,
Batman: The Return.
Yes,
it's a significant page, so I'm gonna pull it up right now. And
okay, so all right, now, believe it or not, you know, people tend to like the splash pages and all that, but for me, it's all about the story. Like, the story, it has to have meaning to me, right? And so all of this art, it deals with the readership and my experience throughout the years, right? And so the Batman #1, that's just like that was the first David Finch piece that I was able to get, and I was like, wow, right? Like, wow, you can't go wrong with it. But if I had to pick a David Finch, like, what would be my first thing I would get, it would be what you see before you from The Return, because that's Grant Morrison Batman. Okay, so this is Batman post Batman RIP. So now he comes back. So he's back, and this is the first mission as Batman Incorporated. So, like, this is the first, like, mission where he and Damian are on the same side, not just tolling and dumping them off on him. And so what you see here is the first encounter between Damian and his clone, the Heretic. Okay. Now in Batman and Robin, right, when Talia pretty much gives Damian an ultimatum, right? And he chooses to stay with Dick Grayson and be Robin with him, right? And she takes him to this freaking vat of all these, like, test tube babies, right? And she shows him another embryo, or maybe it's a fetus. It was a fetus. And she said he would be you in like 3 months or something, right? And so, and he goes very well then, Mom. I hope I'm a worthy adversary, right? So he goes off, right? they go on their adventures. Bruce comes back. They're on some random mission. And then, boom, he runs into this. Now, at this moment, Damian does not know that that's the clone that he saw months prior.
Oh, word.
All he knows, but the clone knows. And so what he's saying on that page, you don't know me. The time hasn't come yet, but you will know me. And that's what the heretic is telling Damian. And Damian's like, who the fuck are you? Right? Like, and so that page right there is like Damian, because they were investigating the site, him and Batman, and then he goes off, not listening to Bruce, goes off, and then he runs into the heretic. And so in the background, like the panel where you see Damian in his Robin suit.
Yeah, what's with the suit? Like, to catch us up to those of us who's less well read in this era of DC.
Okay, so this is just one mission, right?
Yeah, he's on this suit. Yeah.
So Batman and Robin both are in these mech suits. So in a couple pages before that, because as I mentioned before, Batman Return is Bruce back. So this whole issue was about him explaining to the Bat family what their missions are going to be, what their roles are going to be within this whole new Batman Incorporated imprint, right? Mm-hmm. And then so at this point, Batman and now the new Robin, Damian Wayne, he's kind of, seeing what he can do. So they're off on their own mission together. So Batman knew that he was going to a place where they could encounter enhanced meta people, right? Because like where they're that site is where they're at is like a off-site, off the grid, illegal bio experiment site. That's where they're at, where people from the Middle East, rich people from the Middle East, they get these they create these bio weapons for security for rich people, right? Mm-hmm. And so Batman found out that they were creating some like super bio experiment, right? So he goes to Lucius Fox and like, yo, Lucius, hook us up. What you got here? Can you give us 2? Right? And so basically these mech suits they're wearing because they knew that they were going to encounter some super powered people, right? Mm-hmm. And so lo and behold, he runs into the heretic, and then heretic flies off because he was told not to engage. So he goes off and Damian tries to fly off after him, and heretic just throws his ass back into this whale where he was that's where he was I don't know what the word is, but that's where he hatched, so to speak. So like he went from that fetus, and then they put him in this whale so he could finish his birthing process. So to be honest with you, by the time Robin encounters him in that page, he's only a couple days old. He just got hatched, and he was fighting people and stuff. So that page is a teaser for what happens in Batman Incorporated later. And spoiler alert, the heretic eventually kills Damian in those pages. So what's cool about this page is Damian is looking at his eventual killer for the first time.
Damn, no, and heretic looks creepy as heck too.
And this is like, to me, this is the ideal kind of fence shit. Like you want monsters and just gaudy looking, beastly looking people. Yeah. And so this to me it represents like the best of what David Finch could do. And don't get me wrong, he's even better now. But I'm saying, like, for this era, this is what I wanted. I mean, this or Batman 700, which was his first ever Batman work. But I would take this over that because that was just a 5-page kind of anthology thing. Whereas this, he did the whole thing, and this is the first full appearance of this villain.
There's a moment, man. Again, we go back to these reveals. These are big story points that the creator team plans for and are intentional about the message they're trying to deliver. Because I'm guessing by now, by the time this came out, they knew eventually Heretic was going to kill Robin, so they wanted this moment to be extra impactful. And you look at the inks, you're seeing kind of Robin's reaction first before you see what he's seeing. So I think this display, it just says so much, and especially you having this deep dive in the story, it just makes it so much more special.
And I got to shout out Anthony's Collectibles on this and Calf, because
nice.
I tell my wife, I was like, you remember like the Home Shopping Network? I was like, yeah, this YouTube channel here is like my home shopping network here. And most of the time, because we live in a Marvel world, sure, like most of the time they show stuff, and I don't even care. I mean, it's cool to see people buy stuff and get a little history, but most of the stuff I just whatever. I just like the little background noise. Sure. But like one day, I just got this like maybe not even a month ago, like maybe 2 months now. So it's a new acquisition. So I was just on the YouTube watching that, and I think I was like editing on another computer, and then I saw that in the corner of my eye, and I was like, and then like what happens is my heart stops a little bit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what? And then I'm like, oh fuck, because I was watching the rewind. So I was like, oh, dude, somebody picked that up, dude. I was like, somebody. Then so I kind of scrubbed to the end of the show, and no one picked it up. So I hit up Anthony like that night, and yeah, dude, that was it. And then no, it was funny. I take that back. I didn't hit him up. That was for the Batman RIP. I saw him. He does live streams on IG sometimes too. Oh, and then so I saw in the background, like he was walking around, and I just in a live chat, I was like, yo, what's up with the heretic? And boom. so I actually copped this on IG live.
That's dope. Now all these guys are so interesting. Like when we talk about Comic Art Live, a lot of the dealers like Anthony, Albert, like Berkey, they have like almost like a SOP. They'll start there and they'll do their like IG live, they'll do then their email blast, then they'll like do the convention and list the new art. So it's really like interesting just the way these art dealers are, because it's a huge net, right? Like, and you don't know, these are all one-of-ones, and so you don't know who likes what. And so if not for the replay, you would have totally missed it, and no one would have even told you about it. So it's really interesting how this kind of stuff goes down when it comes to acquiring. All right, our fifth and final Morrison Batman. We're gonna dive into Final Crisis, man. Like,
oh, I was like, which one? Okay, yes.
Yeah. Number 2, Mr. J.G. Jones. I mean, many of us who are familiar with J.G. Jones, I mean, he's a badass, and he does a lot of like painted work now on covers. I actually used to have one of his Something is Killing the Children covers, and I had to give that up to try to acquire other pieces. But let's talk about this, man. Final Crisis.
All right. Well, first off, shout out to J.G. Jones. We're going to be doing something with JG, in the near future. I just saw him back in Heroes Con and got a chance to chill with him and a couple times. And so JG is one of my favorite artists. This here was one of those things where, how the hell is this still around? Like, this came out, Final Crisis, I think it was 2009 now, 2010, somewhere in that area. And I'm at my first ever Baltimore Comic-Con. So this is 2024. So this is not that long ago. Yeah, and so I'm at my first ever Baltimore Comic-Con, right? I'm making my rounds, and my shout out to my buddy Chris, Endless Comics on IG, man. My buddy Chris, he hits me up like at the show, and he's like, yo, man, go to JG's booth, man. He got some Morrison shit you might like. And I'm like, what? Like what? Like Final Crisis? He goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah. There's like a Batman painting, and I just run, right? So I go there.
You're a big dude, so running through the con, you just
dude. I ain't no shame in my game if I'm trying to get something, man, dude, because you never know who's on your same like wavelength that show. Yeah. And so it's like, dude, I'm not wasting no time. This is Final Crises. Yeah. This is where Batman goes missing. So this is that piece of the puzzle where, okay, where happens to Batman after Batman RIP? Well, this is it. And so this page is the page where he gets captured. Okay.
Looks like he's in bad shape. You got like drool coming out of his mouth. I mean, it's
yes.
brutal.
And so what you're seeing, so you're familiar with the Fourth World characters, right? And so
Remind
Darkseid,
yeah,
Darkseid. These are the Kirby characters that he kind of this world he created once he left Marvel. Yes. And so like Darkseid, and there's characters like Granny Goodness, and she was, and he had the female Furies. So anyway, the whole premise behind Final Crisis is that the new gods are they possess people on Earth. So Mr. Miracle is some like Japanese guy. Darkseid was some black like preacher, but he was like one of those televangelist kind of dudes, kind of like scam artist kind of guy. And then Granny Goodness, she possessed a Green Lantern, right? And in fact, that Green Lantern you see on the page right there, her name is Kraken. She's actually from Apocalypse. So I was like, what? And I thought that was weird that Geoff would add somebody from the Green Lantern Corps from Apocalypse. But anyway, that's relevant because Granny Goodness, she takes control over this Green Lantern. And so basically what you see here is Batman was asking her a question on the page before because they accused John Stewart of like murder or something like that, or Hal Jordan of murder. And so he was trying to figure it out. And Batman deduced that it was her that kind of framed her fellow Lanterns. Oh. And so when Batman got too close to the truth, boom, that's the page where she attacks him, right? Oh. So she attacks him, and then in the center of the page, that's a boom tube. So see, you don't know. So like the new gods, they use these. They have this father box and mother box. And they use these portals called boom tubes to travel across dimensions. Okay, and so I have a boom tube page, right? And so this is a nod to Kirby. This is a nod to Green Lantern and Batman, both on one page too, right? And the other thing is Green Lanterns and Batman got a kind of like a beef. They not with Kal Rayner. But like Guy and Hal, they got a little rivalry going on, and so to see the Green Lantern attack the Batman, that's what's cool about that. But the main reason why this is cool, number one, is J.G. Jones. Number two, there's Final Crisis and Grant Morrison. But number three, this is the last time, because where they're at, that location is in the Hall of Justice. So once he goes through that boom tube, we don't see Batman in the pages of Batman.
Nice.
Again, like real talk. So after he comes back, right, and Batman Incorporated, and here's a little bit factoid, Dick Grayson continues to be Batman all the way to the New 52.
What?
Yes.
I know that.
So Batman was in Batman Incorporated. So in the pages of Batman and Detective Comics, from the time Batman comes back after that, it's Dick Grayson the whole time. Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne up until the New 52, and then they reset everything and he becomes Nightwing again. But so this is that moment right here where we don't see Batman again in Batman, like for the first original volume. So this is that moment right here. And then he shoots Darkseid, and they zap him back in time. But this is that moment once he crosses that boom tube. Sure. Batman, as we know it, has not been the same since.
Oh. I mean, speaking of Batman and Detective Comics, there's another page here, with him and his favorite nemesis beating the shit out of him.
Oh,
yeah. Talk about it, man.
Okay, so this here, all right, this is probably my favorite Detective Comics issue, since the Rebirth era. So this is that Rebirth era. Since they renumbered back, right? They went back to their original numbering. This is from 1008, I believe.
Also by Doug Mahnke as well.
Yes, and so I was scourging the internet 4 Joker pages. Okay,
Nice.
Joker art, right? They're hard to find. You can find them, but the ones that you like, because there's all different types of Jokers. I wanted something from one of my top favorite artists, like Doug or Andy Kubert or Tony Daniel, somebody like that. I wanted a Joker from them, or Jason Fabok, right?
Yeah.
So one of those types of Jokers, right? And shout out to the Jason, the Southern Comic Geek.
Nice, Southern Comic Geek.
Yeah, what up, man? And so on IG, he DM'd me Jaime Mendoza, Doug's inker, right?
Nice.
And on Facebook, he was doing a drop. Mm-hmm. And so, boom, I saw that and I looked, and this dude, because this is one of my favorite issues. And this is Peter Tomasi, one of my favorite writers. Now, this ties into my social media antics too. Kind of like with the Black Glove piece I said earlier. I would take pages from this issue and do similar things, video projects with it. Nice. So the fact that this was available, if he had like multiple pages I could pick from, right? And so I chose this one. I had two in mind, and this one I picked because this is one of those pages that I would cut up. Why? That center panel where he's spitting his tooth on Batman's bat emblem. That right there is like the rug that ties the room together.
So funny. And Southern Comic Geek, Jason, he is like the dude who, if he knows what you're looking for, I don't know how he has the memory to do this, but he's always sending stuff out to different friends, tagging them, and he's the man, when it comes to if you want to up level your collecting, make sure Jason knows what you like and want.
Yeah, man. If it wasn't for him, I didn't know. I've never met Jaime Mendoza. He doesn't go to many shows. And so the only way I could even encounter him was through this. And so I was kind of hounding Jaime through Facebook Messenger. It took about a couple weeks to get in touch with him and to get the deal going. But this is one of those permanent, put it in the grave with me kind of pages, because it's Joker and it's Batman and Joker throughout, and it's Batman punching Joker. So it's the perfect thing.
The classic matchup, and I also love at the end where you have a little family, kind of what the heck did we just witness here?
Okay, so what's crazy about that, right, is the whole story is about, and it's a one shot. That's the other thing about this issue.
I actually love that one shot. Yeah.
It's a one shot. So basically, Joker is terrorizing Batman. So he goes on the news, take over the carnival, right? So if you look, they're wearing these bolo ties around their neck, right? And so Joker made all the people in the carnival wear these bolo ties, and then so he forced Batman they have Joker toxin in them, and so basically, so Batman can go to the carnival and do whatever Joker wants, and all Joker wants to do is just to have a good time with Batman. So all he's doing is, hey, get on this roller coaster with me, do this, do that, Meanwhile, he's holding the entire carnival hostage, right? And so when he punches, so this is the beginning of the story. So when Batman punches Joker, all the people are scared because they think that they're about to die because Joker's going to just press the button and gas them all. And so that's why they look like that. They're like, holy shit, why? And so, but Joker gets up and spits his thing, and then let's go, And so this is one of the best Joker stories. If you want to laugh, it's very humorous, it's lighthearted, and but that page right there, if you're looking for a Batman Joker page, that's one's hard to beat to me.
No, that's a great one. And we continue our Batman adventures. This is a big pillar for you, because what I like too is you kind of chase Batman into all the different appearances that he has in all these different storylines. And this next one, Mr. Kubert himself, Flashpoint was a big moment in DC. And
you mean this one right here, right there?
Oh shoot! There we go. That's it.
Yeah, right there behind me. Okay, this here, right? So as you guys know, I'm a big Geoff Johns fan. Now, Flashpoint, for all the DC fans, that want to know, that is a story that changed everything, and DC has not been the same ever since. It's the story that launched the New 52, right? And so it could be argued that the Flashpoint storyline is one of the top 5 most important DC stories ever because of what it did, and they couldn't reconcile it after. They tried, but DC has not really been the same. Thank goodness for Absolute Batman. That has created a fresh energy. Yes. But New 52 really changed a lot. But this Flashpoint,
for sure. Yeah. And then the movies didn't help either because to replicate the whole like Flashpoint thing and it was weird. Bad CG. I mean, it was crazy.
So Kubert, okay, so it's like my hierarchy in Batman artists is Kubert's number 1.
Okay, dang, okay, dope.
And then Doug is my overall favorite. Okay. Well, we're talking about Batman right now.
Sure.
So Doug and then Tony Daniel. Okay, so those are my top 3, and this is not based on their artistic ability. This is based on what work they did that influenced me the most. Okay, so it's not about but Andy Kubert to me. Like when I think of Grant Morrison Batman, I think of those first 8 issues with Andy Kubert. And when I was watching the Comic Arts Live, when Bill Cox was interviewing Andy, he was like, "Yeah, man, I kept all my Batman stuff." I was like, and then the stuff that he's selling that we saw at the LA Comic Art Show last year, he's selling for like 17 G's for like panel pages.
He's gotten expensive. I would say in the last 3-4 years.
This was it. This Fan Expo Philly. I can tell you when it happened. It was after I got this.
Wow. Okay.
Fan Expo Philly 2024, and then he did a drop on CAF with the guy from Essential Sequential, and he was selling a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
None of this stuff was in there. But all of this stuff that was kind of on this level was double the price that I paid for this. Wow. And I was like, okay, I got this directly from Andy in Philadelphia. And so I picked this up. And what was cool about this was a flex moment. I went to Philly to see the Ghost Machine crew because everybody was there. Geoff, Fabok, all of them, right? And then Andy Kubert was there. And so I was like, I pulled a Geoff from his table right before he was about to sign and brought him over to Andy's table. We all could take a picture. We could take a picture. And then I bought this page. That's when I bought this page and I took a picture and all this. And they got a chance to hug and talk for a little bit. So that was cool.
I love that full circle because we started with Geoff and then now we're at Andy and you brought them.
And so I brought him there, and the day that I got this, that all happened. And so what's funny about it is, I used I don't know whose term it was, but I got it from watching the Comic Arts Live. Yeah. I go to Andy and I goes, "Are you a wheeler and a dealer, man?" Because I was trying to get a deal on this shit. I was like, "Yo," and so he hooked me up, man. He hooked me up on this, and so this here, I'll have all my comic pages and art ranked, and so I have a top 20. Anything after 20 is on the chopping block, right? Okay. The top 20. Now things could get bumped out of the top 20.
Yeah,
but I have a top 20. So this is number 6.
Number 6. Okay, dope, dude. I wish I knew you had a top 20. I would have gone up. But number 6, tell me about this. I mean, I love this because it's basically Flash beating the shit out of Batman.
Yes, that's reverse Flash beating the shit out of Batman. Yeah. So what's cool about this, right? So for the people that know, Flashpoint is all about Flash trying to fix things, right? Fix his mom from parents from dying or whatever, right? And so in the beginning, but Flash didn't know how he was in this alternate timeline, right? So the whole time he's thinking it's Eobard Thawne, the reverse Flash, did all this crap. But during this scene, right, is when Eobard steps on the scene, because the whole story, Eobard is not seen, and then boom, in the last issue, or actually the last page of the fourth issue, there's a splash page of Eobard, bam, and then this, the beginning of the last issue is this kind of revelation that Barry's actually the bad guy, right? But meaning that he created this alternate timeline that got the world under destruction, right? And so during this part right here, Batman, this Batman is not Bruce Wayne. This is actually Thomas Wayne. So in this alternate reality of Flashpoint, Bruce Wayne dies, and Martha becomes the Joker, and Thomas Wayne, the father, becomes Batman. Okay, and so what's crazy about this is when Batman in that top panel, the top left panel, he's saying, Barry, you did this, then you can reverse it. Like, then you can make it right, And then that's when Reverse Flash goes, psh, psh, no, we ain't. No. So that's what happens. Like, Batman's trying to give Flash the pep talk, right? Because they were fighting at first, right? So Barry's licking his wounds, and Thomas Wayne Batman is saying, hey man, you can make things right. And Reverse Flash is like, hell no, blah, 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 boom. And then you see at the bottom there, Batman's all laid out at the feet of the Reverse Flash. So I love pages where Batman gets his ass whooped.
He's done. He's down.
And that's Reverse Flash. We got Flash, Reverse Flash. So the reason why I like this page, I have Flash. I love cool villain pages. So Flash, Reverse Flash, Flashpoint, Geoff Johns, Andy Kubert. That's a trifecta right there. Like, that's a lot for me. Lots of checks out there.
Number 6, my lucky number too. So number 6.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, last but not least, man, it's been a journey getting here, but we're here. We're here, guys. This is now Mr. Gary Frank.
Oh my God.
Doomsday Clock Joker.
Oh my God.
I mean, Gary Frank, that guy, he's a genius,
Oh my God.
Bro.
Okay, so shout out to Ruben. Remember, we were all on Ruben's channel, right? Okay. And we were all talking. And I brought up during that time, I said, and this was not that long ago, I go, is there an artist that you really want to get a piece from that has been escaping you, right? And
well, he asked you or you asked him?
I asked the panel. Oh. That was a question that we were all kind of talking about for a little bit. And so, because for me, like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to be on Ruben's show, and I'm with the art community. And so, and you guys have been in the game way longer than me. I don't even consider myself an art guy. I'm still a SIG guy at heart, and especially compared to you guys. And so, I always wonder, like, okay, do we think the same, or am I kind of like years behind, in like my collecting practices and habits and stuff? And so I wanted to see like where you guys were at in y'all search. Are you guys content? Are you guys looking for things? Or, just kind of look like what's going on. Because especially during then, I was like, where they at, And so my answer was Gary Frank.
Yes.
Gary Frank was the artist that eluded me. Because I didn't want to just pick anything. I think by now, I wasn't getting the low hanging fruit anymore. Like, oh, okay, just because just to get the artist, just to have a representation. So I wanted to get something good, something that moved me. And so Doomsday Clock, the Watchmen sequel, the Forbidden Watchmen sequel, I think, and I'm going to say this here, Doomsday Clock was cursed. Anybody that deals with the Watchmen properties is cursed. Don't do it. It's not. It's gonna bomb. Your career is gonna not be the same afterwards. It's cursed. Okay, because Alan Moore should have all of that property. He was supposed to have it. He didn't have it, and so I think he put a witch voodoo hex on that shit. And knowing him, he probably did. Got a chipmunk blood and a fucking pentagram and said a couple of fucking, spells, and boom, Watchmen property is cursed. And so Doomsday Clock, right, is not a bad story at all.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about it. But it was mired in controversy from the very beginning. And so I think that I was able to get this page was because of the curse of the watch. Because think about this. You and I both love Gary Frank, right? And most people do, right? And so the fact that there's still straggling Doomsday Clock pages out there is because the actual story itself is not coveted the way it should be. And it's like, I like the story, right? And I like what Geoff did. You know, he tried to do something great, right? It was cursed. It's cursed. Like hindsight 2020. Think about this, right? That book was delayed so much, right? And it wasn't delayed. It wasn't Gary's fault. It was basically what happened. And it happened with, if you notice, DC at the end of the year, they try to come out with a story that kind of like moves the needle so they could bump up the numbers.
Sure.
Hush. Let's go back. So let's just go back a year. Batman 158. They came out with Hush 2. They reunited Jim Lee, right? Then Absolute Batman,
of course,
right? And then
Absolute Batman was that
2024. So I'm going back a couple years. So first it was Hush, then Absolute Batman, and that just moved the needle. And then last year they renumbered Batman and brought in Matt Fraction with Jorge Jimenez. That moved, and then Absolute Batman has just been killing it ever since, and Marvel has not catched up. So it's a good time to be a DC fan. It's great, but during this time, right, in Geoff Johns' career, everything he touched turned to gold, man. Everything, but this is when,
except this.
Yeah, but even though Three Jokers did well, it could have did better, you know, in my opinion. But I think that, you know, there was a lot of negative talk about you know, the production of it. It was negative talk about just the production team in general. But then when you know the true Hollywood story behind it, and if you guys want to watch the interview on the Sig Slayer, you can. It was really the company pushing the creative team to do it before they were supposed to. And so that's what led people to leave DC. So like things have not been the same since. But for me, and I believe in certain things happen for a reason, and I think that the Doomsday Clock, it using the Watchmen property, I really think it impacted. It's just like this black cloud that no one should mess with. But with that said, it's taboo, and I want to bring it in. It's like the Annabelle doll, right? Give me that page. I want it. So the reason why I got this Doomsday Clock page, because when I think about what I would want from Gary Frank, it would be Doomsday Clock as a DC fan. Because as a DC fan, it's like either you want him Superman, which I knew I wasn't going to be able to get. My favorite Superman story is Brainiac by Geoff and Gary Frank, and I knew even if that stuff was available, it was going to be crazy expensive. You see what I'm saying? So people like Gary Frank and Frank Quietly, Marvel people like them too. They will buy DC shit. You know what I mean? So if Marvel people like it, then that means the price point is going to go up, right? So like a $3,000 page is a $1,500 page DC, right? So there's like so I noticed there's like a inherent intrinsic value to the Marvel art that's not there with the DC, right? And so,
I love this Absolute Batman. Then it's these days.
Yeah, so Absolute Batman is moving the needle in ways that I can't even believe it, right? But anything shy of that, even to this day, the Marvel stuff, you know, by a reputable artist, I mean, a regular panel page is going to run you anywhere between, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 for decent character, you know, new stuff, not, you know, classic stuff. And so with Gary Frank, this was, to me, like, yes, people want it, but people don't really care about it that much. So things could slip through the cracks. Yeah. This was an acquisition from the fall, the Fall Comic Arts Live.
Was it? Oh, I was gonna say, like, because you shout out Ruben. I was wondering if you know, someone heard you and was like, you know, you spoke it into existence, but you actually caught this at Comic Art Live after That show.
Yes, and it was yeah, I planted to see. I still spoke it into existence, man. You know, and the reason why this one, because it was like, here's the other thing, like the Doomsday Clock part that I liked the most wasn't the Watchmanship. It's seeing the DC characters, you know, all the DC other DC characters drawn by Gary Frank. That's what I liked. The Watchmen stuff, the stuff when they were in the Watchmen world, that was kind of boring to me. It didn't get good until the Watchmen people got into the DC world, and then that's where all the color and all the stuff started happening. So this page represents that. Okay. Now, what I love about this, because I killed two birds in one stone, you know, I wanted to get some stuff from the era of Batman that I like, and there's a huge chunk missing from my collection, and that's from the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder era, right? But I'm not a big fan of the Blue Line stuff because I like everything on one piece. Okay. And so I was like, I need something Court of Owls. Like I need to get something Court of Owls, so because that represents that that kind of more modern aspect of my readership. So this page covers Gary Frank, Geoff Johns, and a Court of Owls. In fact, that Court of Owls panel is a first appearance. So this is a first appearance page. That is the judge of Owls. So he is the HIC of all the Court of Owls. Yeah, he's the head honcho of all of them. Okay, and that's his birth page pretty much. And so what I love about this, you got that. You got Dr. Savannah from the Shazam world. You got the Rogues from the Flash world. Then you got the Riddler. And then what I love about the last page, right? The last panel has Batman in a wheelchair being carted around. He's sedated by the Joker. So crazy. So showing up to this villains meeting with Batman in a wheelchair, sedated and chained up. And by the way, he's with the two Watchmen characters. So he's bringing in, so he's ushering in the Watchmen to the DC world. So like, that's what I love about this page, because it's like, it represents all in one page everything I like about Doomsday Clock, which is that cross intersection of the Watchmen and the DC characters together. And then I inadvertently get a second Joker page, right? That's from a major crossover. And he has, so I had, you know, Joker getting punched out by Batman on one, but then on this, Joker actually has Batman in captivity. Like, and that's the coolest part. So like, there's other pages in this same issue where there's like a splash page where he's like, he's parading his fool all over Gotham in a wheelchair. And then he ends up at this place. And so it's so cool. So I couldn't ask for a better, more convenient and attainable Gary Frank page.
Man, you're making me want to shop at Comic Art Live more these days. I feel like I've been sleeping on it. But dude, like that collection has been amazing, because when we talk about story collecting, often, you know, you think about these stories that moved you as a kid or whatnot, but for a very long time, even when I first started collecting, very similar as you were, even today, when I read a book that's dope, I instantly gravitate to wanting to grab the art for it. And so that's big. And I feel like you have this era of Geoff Johns that kind of got you all started, that you've gravitated to, and you've been able to like pick off these story points. And in fact, I think it's super smart that you're in a DC world. You like went all in on DC. Yes. Marvel was at Marvel, and now DC's the shit. Like Marvel is kind of trying to catch up and figure it out. So all of a sudden, like, I know a lot of Marvel collectors don't want to say it, but DC is owning it right now. And
yes.
And so I'm gonna kind of land this plane here, but I'm gonna have two questions for you. Okay. So one is, you said you have your top 20, and then anything 21 and on is on chopping block. So what's your number 20, and what's your number 1, or either of those pages in what we went over today?
Yeah. So the number one is pretty much. Yeah, most of those pages are in my top 20. All those pages are in my top 20, actually. Yeah. And so, but the number one is the first Black Batman from the 672, and that's a splash page of Batman being held in captivity. And then the other thing that that was the first Morrison page that I got that had Batman in it. So it was like, you know, because those are hard to get too, you know, like you want to get a Batman page where he's doing something significant. And so, yeah, I got that one. That was off. I got that off eBay.
Okay. Wow.
And then number 20. Number 20 is I have it right here.
That's a tough one, because that means it's wavering right now. Yeah.
No, me and my son, we go over this like on a weekly basis. Like when we're working in here, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, which one did my feelings change or whatever? So this is number 20.
Number 20.
Okay, now this here, I actually got this at OAX, my first OAX this year.
Nice.
And I got it from Comic Connect. And the reason why I got this is from Green Lantern 25.
Sick.
So this is the conclusion of the Sinestro Corps War, and this is the first page of the epilogue. So, you know, Superboy Prime has made a comeback. And so this is when, you know, the heat of Superboy Prime as a villain, but also you got Sinestro in Caps. He's in prison. So after the Sinestro War, this is the first page you see Sinestro incarcerated, and then you see Superboy Prime there. Now in Infinite Crisis, they destroyed the multiverse, and then 52 brought it back. So this is Superboy Prime witnessing the multiverse for the first time since the Crisis era, and this is because the Guardians banished them. Wow. But then the other thing about this, you see that scarred Guardian in the front.
Okay.
There's a Guardian that has like blemishes on her face, right? The bald blemishes.
Yep.
She becomes the villain that sparks off all of Blackest Night. So she's the one that recruits Black Hand and starts all the chaos that is Blackest Night. But then the other thing about this is when I saw Geoff, me and my son visited Geoff like a couple years ago, you know, in Burbank or whatever. And then we were talking, and I was like, dude, like what's your, you know, you've written a bunch of shit. What's your favorite issue? He said Green Lantern 25. And that issue also is the first appearance of all the color lanterns. So that's a key issue. And so all of those colored lanterns gets introduced in Green Lantern 25, but that page is the first. My rank 20 rank is this is the first page of the epilogue. So this actually sets the stage for the next arc. Okay, and so basically, you know, the Sinestro is in prison, and then he gets breaking out by the Red Lanterns, and then it goes. So from here, kind of leads the plot points that leads into Blackest Night. So did
this page climb into his 20 spot most recently? And even for me, even more impressive, you were able to look past all the Superman 75 to find another story page that interweaves into your universe, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah, but truth be told, that was up higher and it got bumped down. You mentioned prelim, right? Okay. So I did want to show one thing that wasn't there because I think the image is not good because of the pencil. Yep. But you mentioned prelim work, right? Yep. And so this is a Grant. This is another Joker. Grant Morrison, Tony Daniel from Batman R.I.P., but it's a prelim cover. And what's cool about this, that this is a published prelim. So they actually, if you buy the Batman R.I.P. trade or hardcover, and you know, sometimes they put prelim art in the back. So this actually made the prelim art stuff. So it actually got published. And so I want to show this. So this here.
Ooh, that thing is mean.
So this is from, you see he's licking the razor blade here.
Wow.
And so, and this is a prelim cover for Batman 680. And so, you know, DC, I actually messaged Tony Daniel to ask him, like, what was this, a prelim cover, or were you just kind of doing some study on, you know, on the Joker? Because this is a different character design for Batman R.I.P. And so maybe I thought this was like a study, you know what I mean? But he was like, no, this was, you know, I was playing around with different cover ideas, but this one was a little too spicy for DC. him licking the blade like that. And so so this was,
in fact, that look like kind of reminds me of the Jared Leto version of a bit, right? So I wonder if they pulled some inspiration there and you know,
for sure,
maybe
for
done
sure.
And did the whole Suicide Squad thing, yeah.
And so that was recently acquired at the spring.
Yo, what a way to that's a great piece to land it for us. It's amazing. And like sometimes I kind of hesitate collecting pencils because I don't know, sometimes I just can't see it, whatever. But that one is freaking tight, man.
Yes.
And, dude, it's amazing. And so, Mike, dude, thank you so much for sharing your collection with us. I think it's super obvious you're a story collector. Now, if let's just say, like, just clean our minds right now of all the value of money. If let's just say your original art for Batman 672 costs $1,000, okay? If it costs $1,000, but you could also get Batman 672 CGC 9.9 or PSA 10 signed by the whole creative team, and that also costs $1,000. Which one would you choose?
Well, because I'm the SIG Slayer, I have all of those signed already before I even had that. I even have all the Alex Ross covers from that era. No, but I would pick the art. Like now, I would yeah, because I don't like CGC, I don't like that stuff. So and to me, the art is the SIG, right? If we're talking about collecting, right? So like collecting signature is the gateway drug, right? So some people don't collect SIGs at all, but I guarantee you, I know a lot of people in the art game that I've seen that are my friends. They used to be in those lines getting SIGs with me, and they don't do that no more. And now they're getting commissions and they're getting, you know, various kinds of art. So I think that the SIG is like that gateway drug, and then you have remarks, then you have sketch covers, and then, you know, maybe commissions or published OA, right? And so the page, to me, the published work, it's kind of like this, it's like an extension of the signature to me, because it's like it's one of one. And the reason why I like the signature so much is because I say that the comic was blessed by the creative team, right? Yeah. So this is like not even a blessing. This is the actual birthing of the stories that we love so much. And so I would go you know, Geoff Johns art and Grant Morrison art any time of the day.
I love it. So with that said, thank you, Mike, for joining us on another episode of The Gallery. And folks, we'll see you on the next one.